Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something that sounds simple but is actually a huge headache for almost every business out there. Figuring out who was where and when. And listen, we're not just talking about a better way to clock in and out. We're talking about something much bigger, an entire operating system for human attendance.
So let's just get right to it. What is your current attendance system really costing you? Because for most companies, the old way of doing things, traditional time and attendance, it's broken. And it's not just about what you pay for a device or some app. Nope. It's about all those hidden costs and risks that pop up when your system just can't handle the real world.
And here's what that mess usually looks like. Most organizations are wrestling with this Frankenstein's monster of systems, right? You've got fingerprint scanners at one office, maybe a selfie app for the sales team, and then, paper and pen registers for the guys out on remote sites. And the biggest problem? None of these things talk to each other. So you get these huge blind spots, all kinds of inaccuracies, and this is the big one, real money just leaking out. We're talking about things like buddy punching, where one guy clocks in for his friend, or even ghost workers, literally people on the payroll who don't even exist. So what's the answer then? Well, the point is this. We have to move beyond just collecting clock-ins. That's just data entry. What companies really need is a single, totally reliable source of truth. The big idea here is to build an intelligence layer, a true operating system that knows exactly who your people are, no matter where they are or how they check in. Okay, so if you're going to build this fancy intelligence layer, you've got to start with a foundation of pure trust. And in the world of biometrics, that trust comes down to one thing and one thing only: world-class accuracy. Think about it. If the system can't get the ID right every single time, then the whole thing just crumbles. Everything else is useless. And when we say world-class, we mean this level of accuracy, 99.7%. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds high, but why is that tiny little decimal point so important? Well, here's why. Because every single mismatch, every time that system gets it wrong, that's not just a glitch. That's a support ticket, that's an angry employee filing a grievance, that's a payroll error that somebody has to spend hours and real money to track down and fix. And look, this isn't just some number a marketing team made up. It's been validated by the U.S. government's National Institute of Standards and Technology. That's NIST. They're like the gold standard for this stuff. So when they say it ranks in the top 1% globally, that means the core engine has proven itself in the most demanding, high-stakes situations you can think of. We're talking airports, border control, places where getting it wrong is not an option. But here's what's really cool. That insane accuracy isn't just in a perfect lab. It holds up out here in the real messy world. Construction sites with glaring sun, super dim warehouses, people wearing masks, beards, glasses. It handles all of it. And this part is absolutely crucial. It doesn't need some fancy, expensive piece of hardware. It works on low-cost Android devices. And it even works completely offline in places with zero internet. That's a game changer. All right, so we've got this rock-solid foundation of accuracy. But how does it actually work in the day-to-day? Well, the whole concept is built on this idea: one single, powerful engine that you can use in any environment. It's all about taking that world-class, NIST-benchmarked accuracy and just putting it everywhere your business needs it to be.
Let's start with your mobile workforce, the people out in the field. Instead of making them download yet another app they're going to forget about, this technology plugs directly into the HR app they already have on their phone. For the employee, it's totally seamless. For your HR team, it's just a simple drop-in solution. Super easy.
Okay, what about fixed locations, like your office entrance or a factory gate? Simple. You can take any standard Android tablet, the kind you can buy anywhere, and turn it into a super powerful attendance kiosk. You get all the top-tier features, like working offline, but without being chained to some crazy expensive proprietary piece of hardware. Total freedom. But what about those really spread-out environments? Places where workers can't just walk up to a kiosk. Well, that's where the handheld scanner mode comes in. A supervisor can just use their regular phone to scan workers on a remote construction site, in a mine, or even city workers out on the street. If the worker can't come to the device goes to the worker. It guarantees you get 100% coverage, even with no internet at all. And this next one, this is a total game changer for high-traffic areas. The system can actually plug into your existing security cameras and turn them into smart attendant sensors. That means your employees don't have to do a single thing. No tapping, no scanning, no stopping. They just walk by and boom, they're clocked in. It is completely 100% frictionless.
which is amazing during those chaotic shift changes.
So when you put all of that together, you get this. This is the real secret sauce. It's called Omni-Channel continuity. And what it means is that an employee has one single identity that follows them across all those channels. So they could clock in from their phone while visiting a client, then get scanned by a kiosk back at the office, and later be picked up by a CCTV camera at a plant. And all of those events, they all feed into one single unified attendance record. It's the one thread that ties everything together perfectly.
Okay, that's the theory. But how does this adaptability actually play out in the real world? Because, let's face it, the needs of a busy factory are totally different from a sprawling construction project. So let's look at a couple of different examples to see how this thing works in action. So check this out. On one hand, you've got a manufacturing plant. Their biggest headache? Slow, chaotic shift changes and buddy punching. The solution for them? Frictionless CCTV at the gates to get people through fast. But then, on the other hand, you have a massive infrastructure project. Their problem is totally different. They're worried about ghost workers and getting overbilled by contractors. So for them, the priority is ironclad proof. They use supervisors with handheld scanners out in the field to get a verified headcount. See, it's the exact same core engine, just configured in a different way to solve a completely different business problem. All right, because let's be real, the ultimate goal here isn't just to track time a little bit better. That's thinking too small. The real prize is turning all that raw attendance data into actual intelligence that has a direct impact on the company's bottom line. So let's follow the journey of a single piece of data, from a simple clock-in all the way to a powerful business insight. It all starts the second a face is recognized, anywhere, on any device. That event is instantly sent as clean, verified data straight to your HR and payroll systems. Because the data is clean, payroll and billing can be totally automated. And once that's automated, well, that's when you unlock the really good stuff. Actionable insights into your real labor costs, your team's productivity, and any compliance risk you might have. Now, for complex industries like construction or big infrastructure projects, the impact here is just massive. You finally get an unquestionable ground truth. One face equals one worker, period. And that's not just about stopping fraud. It's about having total confidence in your numbers. With that confidence, you can challenge a contractor's invoice because you have the real data. You can see your true labor costs per site every single day. And those dreaded audits? They go from being a month-long nightmare to something you can handle with a simple click of a button. So it all comes back to this one final question. Is your attendance data an expense, or is it an investment? Because the big takeaway here is that when you make sure your data is clean, unified, and intelligent, you completely change what it is. Attendance stops being this boring cost center, just a logistical chore you have to get through every day. Instead, it becomes a powerful source of strategic insight. It becomes a real investment that pays you back over and over again in efficiency, accuracy, and total control.